right, sixth graders, welcome back. We're going to be doing representing rational numbers. So let's go ahead and start. I'm going to do all the even ones today. It says use less than, greater than, or equal to compare. What are we going to put between 1 over 10 and 0.09? Well, 1 over 10 is the same as 10 over 100, and that would be 0.1. If I was to put 0.9 as a fraction, I would put a line under it and put zeros under both numbers that are there and put a 1 in front. And then, as you can see, this is going to be less than 1 over 10. So I would say this is greater than this. All right? Next, we're going to do B. B says negative 1.44 and negative 1 1/4. If I'm going to look at 1 1/4, I know that's going to be negative 1.25 because 1/4 is 25% of something. And if I'm looking at which one's bigger, I know that the farther to the left of my number line, the smaller the number is. So 44 is bigger than 25. I have to say then that negative 1.44 is less than negative 1 1/4. C, we've got negative 2/3 and negative 0.8. All right, if I do 0.8 as a fraction, I would put a 0 underneath it, 1 in front, and that's going to go ahead and get me 8 over 10, right? And that's going to be reduced. Well, I have to have a common denominator, right? So if I was to compare these as fraction-wise, I'm going to have to multiply this to 3 and multiply this to 10 each side. 10 each side over here is going to give me 20 over 30. 3 to this side will give me 24 over 30. And now we remember these are both negatives. So once again, 24 is going to be farther to the left on the number line. So it's smaller than 20 over 30. So this is going to be negative 2/3 will be bigger than negative 0.8. And that's because of the negative sign. This is going to be farther to the left on the number line. Now we got 0.5 and 2/4. Well, 2 over 4 can be reduced by dividing the top and bottom by 2. And divide by 2 over 2, and that's going to give me 1/2. And I know 0.5 is 50%, which is 1/2. So in this case, this is going to be equal. E says negative 2 3/4, and I know that this is going to be negative 3/4 of something is 75% of something. So this would be negative 2.75. And for the people who are saying, Mr. Meadows, how do you know these things? I'm going to show you a little trick. You remember every fraction's a division problem, right? So we know the 1's going to be in front here. Let's just look at B, for example. So this is 1 divided by 4. 1 divided by 4. Okay, that's going to give me, I have to put a decimal there. So this is going to be 0.4 goes in it 2 times because it's going to be 8. That's going to give me 2 left over. When I put a 0 there, 4 goes into 25 times. And everyone can see I have 0.25, and that's what I had over here. So when I'm dealing with fractions, I'm dividing the top number by the bottom number, okay? If I had done this one, it would have ended up being 66.6 repeating, and that still would be a smaller amount with negatives. It'd be more to the right on my number line than it would be for 80%. This is 1 divided by 10. Of course, if I was to do this one, it's pretty easy to see that when I put the decimal here, it would be 0.1, and 0.1 is more than 0.09. Okay, so whether I want to do it with using fractions or with my decimals, there's always a way to do this. Now I know that these are both negative signs, and 75 is a bigger number than 25, so that means it is going to be less than, because it's farther to the left on my number line, than 2.25. And then we have this one here, negative 3 over 5, and we have negative 0.35. I could change this into a fraction. I could. It would be 35 over 100. And then I could multiply this side by 20 over 20. I'll do it that way just to go ahead and show you really quick. This would be over 100. And then I would have to go ahead and so I could divide both sides by 5. Or I could just multiply 20 to both the top and bottom here to make my denominator 5 on the bottom. 5 times 20 would be 100. And 3 times 20 would be 60. Remember, this is a negative. And negative 60 is farther left on my number line than negative 35. So again, this would be smaller just because of the negative sign. All right. Now, for those of you that were wondering, hey, why didn't you do it the other way? Okay, let's knock it out the other way really quick. I know that every fraction is a division problem. This is nothing but 3 divided by 5. And I know that I can put my decimal here, and that's going to go into it 0.6 times. So this is really negative 0.6. And I know that 6 is greater than 3, but since this is negative in front of both of these, we're going farther to the left on our number line with negative 0.6 than we are with 0.3, so that's why it's smaller. All right, 23 is yours to do. Now we have number 24. What is the least number of points you must plot to have examples on all 4 sets of numbers, including at least 1 positive integer and 1 negative integer? Okay, what is the least number of points you must plot to have examples of all 4 sets of numbers? So we have 4 sets of numbers here: natural numbers, whole numbers, integers, and rational numbers, right? So what is the least number of points you must plot to have examples of all 4 sets of numbers, including at least 1 positive integer and 1 negative integer? And that would be 2 points, 2 points, and 1 would be a positive integer, and 1 would be a negative integer. Okay, because integers are rational numbers, right? And so this is going to give you at least 1 positive rational number, 1 negative rational number, right? And an integer is also going to be a natural number, right? So it qualifies as all of these whole numbers as well. All right. Let's see, I'm doing the even ones. So that was 24. Now I'm going to be doing. Oh, how did this one get here? Okay, it looks like I put this one here twice. So I'm going to take this and take it off. I'm looking for number 25 now. There we go. Suppose you plot the locations of the animals on a number line. Here are our animals. Which animal would be represented? Wait a minute, I'm doing the even ones. Almost got me do one for you there. Which animal is closest to a depth of negative 0.7? Negative 0.7. Well, we got negative 0.8, right? Which animal was closest to a depth of negative 0.7 kilometers, okay? We got a blood belly comb jelly, okay? And we also have a negative 0.6 kilometers for a slender snipe eel. So which animal is closest to a depth of negative 0.07? I would say both of those would qualify. But as we see that we have fractions in here, we just can't look at the decimals and say that they're going to work. Now, I see this one, this fan fin anglerfish with negative 2 1/4 kilometer. That's not going to be closer than these two because it's only 2 and about, well, 1/4 is 0.25. So that's not going to work. This is going to be equal to about 2.25. And even if it's negative, that's still not going to be closer than those other two. Let's look at this. A negative 1.1 definitely is not closer than negative 0.6. Then we have a negative 3/10. All right, and that is going to be equal to 0.3, I believe. Let me see. Remember, every fraction is a division problem. So this is going to be 3 divided by 10. I'll put my decimal there. I see 0.3. So this would be 0.3. And even if it's negative, 0.6 and 0.8 are going to be closer. So we've ruled out this one, this one, this one. How about this one? Negative 2/3. Again, every fraction is a division problem. So this would be 2 divided by 3. And I could be wasting my time checking all these fractions out, but I am kind of surprised it says which animal. It doesn't say animals. And if these are both equally one away from negative 0.7, I have to wonder if one of these is even closer. So let's see. I put my decimal down. I'll have to put a 20 there. 3 goes into 20. Well, 3 times 6 is 18. And that's going to leave me 2. Hey, wait a second. Okay. When I put a 0 again, that's going to give me another 6. This is 6 repeating. Okay, now I think we're on to something here, because even though 6 is 1 away, look right here, 7 minus 6, right? 6 repeating. If I did this one even at 6, 6, I'm going to have to borrow 1, and then this would be, that would only be 0.04 away. So actually 0.03. So actually, the deep sea anglerfish is the closest thing because it's only 0.03 away. So I'm going to have to go with the deep sea anglerfish. All right. I'm glad I went and checked the rest of them out. All right, let's go with number 28. It says a classmate ordered these numbers from greatest to least. Is he correct? Okay, he's got 4.4, 4.2, negative 4.42, and negative 4.24. Well, I'm going to say no, he's not correct because, oh wait, from greatest to least. Okay, that might be it now. Let's check this, from greatest to least. So the biggest one is 4.4. 4.4 is positive, and it is bigger than 4.2. Okay. And then we have negative 4.42, and this is negative 4.24. No, I'm going to say that 4.42 is farther left on the number line than 4.24. So I'm going to say that he probably confused the bigger number here, but these two should be switched. So I'm going to say no, he's not correct. Negative 4.24 is greater than negative 4.42. 4.42, because 4.42 is going to be, let's look at this number line here. And if we had, this is 0, remember, negative 4.24 will be here, and negative 4.42 will be here. And the farther a number is to the left of my number line, the smaller it is. All right, I'm going with number 30 now. Higher order thinking question. Suppose A over B and C over D and E over F represent three rational numbers. If A over B is less than C over D, and C over D is less than E over F, wow, okay, so let me check this out. A over B is less than C over D, and C over D is less than E over F. Compare A, B, and EF. A, B, and EF. Well, that would mean A over B has to be less than E over F. We should represent three rational numbers. I would think that would have to be my answer. Let's put that to the number line and check it just to make sure. I'm going to make a neater number line here. There we go. If I did, if they're saying A over B is less than C over D, so that means A over B will be farther to the left on my number line than C over D. And C over D is less than, which means farther to the left than E over F. And yes, absolutely, comparatively, A over B then has to be less than E over F. Yes, that's what I would do. And if I had to explain it, I would simply say, let me see, let me erase this part. Let's see, I said then, let's see. And A over B is less than E over F. Okay? And the reasoning would be if E over F is greater than C over D, and C over D is greater than A over B, then E over F has to be greater than A over B. And that would be my reason. All right, I think that's all of them that I had to do. So the rest is on you. Hope that helps you out. And let's go ahead and get a code word in for today. All right, and our code word today is going to be, what do I have in front of me? Oh, look what I have here. Fisherman's friend honey lemon cough drops. All right, that is your code word. If I see that on your homework sheet, you'll be getting a treat from me. All right, guys, I will see you in class. We're up for grading. Have a great night and good luck.